Welcome back, everybody. I've managed to get my hands on a Boss SY-1000, their new GK pickup-powered flagship guitar synthesizer. A huge thank you to Ed and everybody at Roland Australia for loaning me one of these for the next couple of weeks. Perfect, given that we're in lockdown. So this thing does so many things. So many things that I'm not even going to bother to try to explain what they do. Instead, I'm going to use some factory presets to write a little synthwave style track, which you'll hear in a second. Then I'm going to go through those factory presets and just show off some sounds. Let's hear it. Let's hear some of the sounds that I used in that track. They're all factory presets. All I did was scroll through the factory presets until I heard a preset that I liked, and then I saved it into a user bank. The main big pad throughout that song is this Crystals synth. This is probably my favorite factory preset in the entire SY-1000. That's more or less the sound that inspired that mini track that you guys heard. Right at the start, there is a single note from this Replicant Patch, which is kind of like a Vangelis Blade Runner style thing. And you do have the GK volume accessible on the pickup, of course. I actually didn't end up using this electric piano with some phase, but this is a really nice sounding preset anyway. Very, very nice right there. We've already done the crystal synth. There is this vintage synth brass kind of thing. I wish I knew how to play Jump by Van Halen, but this is what you get. Perfect if you like synthwave or you just like anything that kind of came out between the years of 1979 and 1990. Let's bank up because we have some pretty cool sounds here. There's a lovely big strings patch that I use just as an extra layer in that track. Little bit of a welcome to the machine vibe with that one. I really like that. This I use in one little section just for a rise. If you use Control Switch 2, it does this. Very cool if you like hands-free effects. These control switches in just about every patch do something cool, so don't forget about them when you're trying one of these out. Then there's two lead sounds in here based around the Roland GR300. There's this fat GR300 lead, and the lead I use for the main part, which is the GR300 plus Fantasia. This one was the first lead sound that I heard in here that really just made my eyes bulge, and I was like, whoa, I have to use this. And I don't know what the control switches do on this. Let's find out. I kind of wish I knew about that before I did that track. That's a really cool effect. Control switch 2. Kind of gives you that washy sound in the background. Let's go to the third bank. We've got another brass sound that I just kind of laid in there with some of the chords. That's like a synthwave track waiting to happen right there. And then we've got this slicer that I also use to double up the lead. No synthwave style track would be complete without an arpeggiator or some kind of sequenced bass thing happening. So I use this arpeggio step preset, which does. Really nice, responds really well. You can set up the triggering to be on a note-by-note basis or just to run in the background, and you can see that control switch number 2 syncs it to the tap tempo, which I did for that track. On patch 4, this is such a cool patch. The name kind of gives away what it is emulating. Again, there is another layer under that main synth layer of just this, and I love the way it kind of pans around the stereo spectrum. Fantastic stuff. There's only 2 more patches that I use. One is throughout, or maybe the last 2/3 of the song, and The really cool thing about the SY-1000 is, yeah, it's a synth, yeah, it emulates the old GR300, but it also does instrument modeling as well, including acoustic guitar modeling. So this is a double 12 preset, and I just use this to add a bit of sparkle. I found it sat in the mix really, really easily. I didn't have to do any EQ to anything, which is kind of one of the struggles with recording acoustic guitar that I find at home anyway. So I was really happy this one just kind of sat in there. So there's like a virtual capo in there and control switch 2. I'm not so into, kind of adds like a low octave or something, but straight up. The last patch that I used was this Vio guitar patch. If you've ever played a Roland VG8 or one of the VG processors, you would know this particular sound really, really well. And it's on the SY-1000. It just tracks a whole lot better. And there's no really kind of harsh high end that I always notice with the old VG8 and VG88. This one doesn't have that. It sounds far more natural. It's really, really inspiring. I use it for this part. So there is a very brief look at some of the factory patches that I use for that quick little piece. Honestly, this was such a pleasure to just open up. Installing the pickup was probably the hardest thing, figuring out where to mount it on and trying to choose which guitar to mount it on. I'm glad I put it on this because this guitar kind of just suits it in terms of the response that's going on. I haven't played a GK-enabled synth style thing since the old Roland VG8, and this just tracks so much better. Like I said a little bit earlier, there's none of the kind of harsh artifacts in there. It sounds gooey and warm and analog in all the modes that you want to sound gooey and warm and analog. It sounds really kind of bright and crystalline on all the patches that you want to sound like that. And there is instrument modeling, and I haven't even looked at it. Maybe we should do that just now by looking at some of the factory presets. There's a lot of the amp modeling and effects from the Boss GT-1000, which I think sounds fantastic. So let's find a guitar patch somewhere in here. So here's a great example. This is this advanced lead overdrive. All the tones are coming from the GK pickup. So there are plenty of rabbit holes to dive down with the SY-1000, which is why I wanted to do this video, just exploring a couple of the factory presets and trying to make a short piece of music with it, because now I get to ask you guys, what do you want to know about this thing? Do you want an exploration of the factory presets? Do you want me to build some patches from scratch? Do you want tutorials? Do you want kind of video a week just explaining individual little things? I would love to know. Please let me know in the comments, because this is such a fun unit. I've been having a blast with it. I can't wait to do some more videos with it. And again, it's all going to be fueled by input from you guys. So thank you so much for watching the video. Let me know what you want to hear from this thing in the comments, and I will do my best to have a few more videos over the coming weeks. Cheers.